this year, but we'll get through this.
Interesting you mentioned Pakistan too. People don't realize that they have almost 300 million people in their country too, but they don't bring the investment here and vice versa too. So India is not only taking investment, they're also giving investment. And to watch them kind of grow as a nation and actually spread their wings and start to establish themselves as a dominant country in a lot of regions. I think as they develop, you'll see that huge middle class just coming to bear on the world market.
My individual conversations with government leaders and so forth, they get it. And look, we're not creating a strategic partnership with Pakistan. You don't see American companies making multi-billion-dollar investments in Pakistan. That's all happening in India. I went to Western Naval Command because we should talk about the Indian Ocean region as well. And that's an important place where we were a little bit slow in the Pacific Islands. In South China Sea, we can't make that same mistake in the Indian Ocean region. India will be critical in keeping the peace, maritime security, freedom of navigation in that region as well.
Well, let me start with Congressman McCormick. I think it was a little over a year ago you took over as co-chair of the House Caucus on India and Indian Americans. Got to hear a bit of this in the back room before coming out, but what sort of attracted you and pulled you in the direction about taking this important leadership role in this important relationship?
Well, as you guys probably realize, there's a reason for my great success in medicine and everything. I am 2% Indian. I just want to put it out there right now. I did my genetics. It's how I made it through medical school. We have 14% Indian diaspora in my district. It's the wealthiest Republican district in America by median income. And a large part of that is because it is the wealthiest and most successful demographic in America. Likewise, we have a large Korean diaspora. We have about 40% minorities. It is an extremely conservative district, especially financially, and there is no more important friend that we're going to need for the future of not just for the United States and India, but for the entire stability of the world than India. If you consider about the regional security of the Chinese influence of that sphere, 70% of the trade that goes through that straits there with Taiwan, the commonality we have in the way we look at economics and freedom and advancement of a people. We can literally, you have the oldest democracy and the largest democracy. If they unite, which will be two of the three biggest economies in the world in short order, and with an expanding economy of about 8% per year, we could literally usher in a new generation of peace that could last 100 years if we do this right. Conversely, if we do it wrong, it could be catastrophic for us. If they start joining up with Russia and China, that will put everything out of balance for us, and it would be devastating for the future of our relationship as well as for the world, in my opinion. Prime Minister Modi is extremely nationalistic in a good way. I mean, he's looking after his country just like we look after our country. He wants to bring productivity and expansion and technologies to his country. He wants the military to be built up inside of his country. Matter of fact, there's several laws that kind of inhibit our collaborating and that are troublesome to the advancement of their military as well as our collaboration. But I understand why he's doing it. If you understand his motivations, if you understand some of the things that frustrate us when they buy cheap Russia oil, it basically funds a war in Ukraine. We hate that. But he's doing it for the best interest of his country so he can expand his economy with cheap energy. So there's a lot of economical reasons that he's going to do what he's going to do. But in the end, I think he understands how important we are because we are like-minded. And because when we collaborate, when you have 250,000 Indian students here right now in America, right now, but we also have 250,000 Chinese students in America right now. We have 1 million total. The industry that we bring back to India, the consumption that we do of Indian goods is very important. But we need to make sure there's balance there, that there's equal buy-in. And it's not going to be perfectly balanced. Anybody who's married understands that, but some better than others. But I think understanding that it is a collaboration and that there does have to be a fairness, an open market to both, where we have a capitalistic synergy. And I think that's a complex issue. And when you talk about the president and his leverage, he has to use our leverage because we are their biggest consumer. We're the world's biggest consumer. We have a $30 trillion economy. India is not even past Germany yet. They're about 400. I think they just passed Japan, but they're coming up on Germany, and they're going to blow by Germany. And then they're going to advance on China. But China's been crushing it since about 2015 when they came out with the Made in China initiative. They've been cheating their way to the top through the World Trade Organization, which we gave in good faith, and they've abused. We want to make sure that India stays in line with good economics, good faith, and good relationships, that it doesn't become an abusive relationship on either side. But there's always going to be leverage done with the president, and some presidents leverage more than others. In my opinion, it's happened to some degree anyways. We've divested from China, and India's picking up the slack in many of the production lines. That whole region is also, Vietnam, Thailand, you're seeing Cambodia trying to step in right now, but also the relationship with China makes that confounded in some ways. But India, I think, has, once again, a unique ability because of their population, 1.47 billion people. I mean,
1.4 billion.
That's crazy. It's the biggest, it's blown by China. China's shrinking, India still is expanding. India's one of only 2 places in the world that's still expanding as a population. Everybody else, we've reached a plateau in the Earth's population. And you'll see a decline over time, I think, if Africa could ever get a hold of their population. India and Africa are the only 2 places where we're really expanding by any kind of noticeable. Everybody else is declining dramatically. So whereas the population still matters, talent really matters. And India is supplying a tremendous amount of talent to the entire world, not just in exporting talented people, but also in what they're filling. Look, they just put a spaceship on the dark side of the moon for under $80 million, not billion, $1 million. We can't even build a building to talk about putting a spaceship on the dark side of the moon for that much. They're just becoming extremely, it's kind of like jumping past telephone poles and going straight to cellular. They have some real advantages in the way they're approaching businesses right now. And people should be very, not concerned, but very aware of that so that we can work synergistically. We embrace them as friends. We usher in that peace, that prosperity for the rest of the world. If we alienate them, it's going to be big trouble for all of us. And I mean that sincerely. Big trouble for them too, quite frankly, but we have to lead the way. We are still the world leader. We will set the bar for that relationship. And everything that President Trump or President Biden or anybody else who's going to be president, I hope they put that at the top of their strategic priority list.
What keeps me engaged, for 3 decades, if you go back to the Clinton administration, through the Bush administration, through Obama, to Trump 1.0, to Biden, India's been very key to our whole Indo-Pacific strategy. We've seen this rising nation. We've seen this rising economy. As Rich pointed out, largest democracy in the world. So our interests align, and this has not been Democratic or Republican. The caucus is one of the largest caucuses on the Hill. And we've got to get this right. Rich alluded to the world's changing. The framework we put in the United States post-World War II through the Cold War, through the post-Cold War era, that's different today. We know clearly who our adversary is in Beijing. That's going to be the leading competition in the world. We're going to create new structures based on like values, democracy, free markets, entrepreneurship. China is a very different country with a different model. We don't have to guess what Xi Jinping wants to do. He tells us. So it's incredibly important, particularly for stability, not just in the Indo-Pacific region. I mean, India is, I think it is the fastest growing economy in the world right now, is going to be key here. So we had just put a resolution together this past fall. Rich was a co-sponsor of it, very strongly bipartisan, Joe Wilson and I, to signal that as a different branch of government, nothing's changed in how Congress sees the importance of this relationship. I was in India in September at a time of pretty high friction, right? The president made some comments about Pakistan. I had invited Pakistani leaders into the Oval Office. I left on a Friday, landed on Saturday, and we were hit with the $100,000 H-1B visa issue, so that took up a lot, 50% tariff. So there was a lot of friction points, but the truth is when you talk to the business community, they're playing the long game here, they get it. Even, my individual conversations with government leaders and so forth, they get it. And look, we're not creating a strategic partnership with Pakistan. You don't see American companies making multi-billion-dollar investments in Pakistan. That's all happening in India. I went to Western Naval Command because we should talk about the Indian Ocean region as well. And that's an important place where we were a little bit slow in the Pacific Islands. In South China Sea, we can't make that same mistake in the Indian Ocean region. India will be critical in keeping the peace, maritime security, freedom of navigation in that region as well. They get it. We're playing the long game. There's some hiccups here, but we'll get through this.
Interesting you mentioned Pakistan too. People don't realize that they have almost 300 million people in their country too, but they don't bring the investment here and vice versa too. So India is not only taking investment, they're also giving investment. And to watch them kind of grow as a nation and actually spread their wings and start to establish themselves as a dominant country in a lot of regions. I think as they develop, you'll see that huge middle class just coming to bear on the world market. I think it's going to be impressive.